Hi, everybody. I'm here. Now, tell me John, how do I pronounce your last name?
Binnie,
Binnie. It's
Binnie, yep.
Jonbinnie.
Binnie.
Binnie. Binnie.
Yep,
So
that's right.
I was introduced to him from one of you guys, one of my subscribers, and I took a look, see at your channel, and you're very good with calming people down.
Thank you.
So tell us about how you got started. How did this start? By the way, he's in Scotland. Are you from Scotland?
So my secret is I was actually born in England and
Okay,
have spent 46 and a half years in Scotland. So I'm 47.
but you don't
Um,
have that thick Scottish accent.
no, I don't. It's quite mixed.
Yeah.
My parents are my father's Scottish and my mother's English. So it's quite funny having the mix. I have my wife who we've been married for over 23 years, and it's she has a very strong Scottish accent, and mine's changed over that time. It's just gradually started to pick up a little bit more of a twang, but it's still very
Oh,
neutral.
listen, when I was in Scotland with that boyfriend of mine, I actually started getting an act. I get osmosis. I get in
Yeah,
English, I get Scottish, I get Hispanic if I'm hanging around my peoples very long. It just comes, but you're very clear. You're very easy to understand.
thank you.
Because listen, I went New Year's, the first time I went to see Robin, it was New Year's, and we went to his friend's house, and he opened the door and he started talking to me, and I couldn't understand a word he was.
Yeah,
And then by the end of the night, people are just, when they're drinking. Robin Williams did a great thing about that. When
yeah.
A Scottish are drinking, you can't understand a word. But so go ahead, tell us what happened then.
About my journey.
Yeah.
I so I I have just left a 26-year career in software engineering and artificial intelligence, and I was a senior software manager in a global corporation. You guys all know exactly who it is, if I named them in the US. But that was a fantastic career. But something happened to me. In 2017, I was invited along to a friend had invited me along to a local meditation session in a local village hall. And I was like, oh, I've never really done this before. And so when I went into this meditation, it was about an hour long session. So it was quite a lot of like preparation for it. And during that experience, I saw the planets and stars being created and the energy flowing between them. And my mind was just like kind of bleeding out my ears. I was like, this is incredible. It's so amazing. And I remember asking the teacher afterwards. So I told her all this, and she said, that's amazing, John. Have you thought about meditating more often? It's like, yes. Can I do it every day? It's free, right? You can just do it every day. And she said, yes, you just, and I said, what do I do? She said, just do what we just did today. And since that day, since November 2017, I've not stopped, not skipped a day. And on that journey, about 3 weeks into it, I asked I was looking at YouTube, and I was looking at people talking about spirit guides, and I was like, ooh, I wonder what they are. I wonder if I have spirit guides.
Yeah.
Um and I started asking for them to show themselves, which started to like I started to see some patterns. I started to see like donut shapes and colors. It's like, oh, this only happens when I ask for them to appear. And then in meditation, I started asking. I switched it to asking messages. So I'd say, what messages do you have for my highest good today? And I just moved into a recording. Well, moved into a new house, and it had a big double garage that was a Zumba dance studio. And I was like, great, I could use this for music because I've been on and off with music through my life. And I was just building a recording studio, and I thought, I know, I'll start asking these spirit guide things for messages, and then I'll start turning them into songs. And so that started weekly, and then at some point in 2018, it became daily. Um, and after 900 days of meditation, so 900 songs later, I was like, it's real. Like these messages I'm getting are, they're probably never going to stop. And I'm not sure that John by himself could have created all these songs, 900 songs at that point, just from my own imagination.
Right, right.
And I felt like I was connecting into something that it was, I know some of us are more, quicker off the mark than others, but I was like, it took me 900 times to go, okay, I get it. I accept it. I integrate this. Um, and that's also when my journey kind of forked a bit. So I started doing energy healing, which I'd never been taught. And I had a reading from a friend, and they said, we were talking with Mother Gaia, and Gaia said, would you like to help people clear negative energy, clear attachments, um, to step into your divine masculine and be, loving and protective and helpful for people? And I thought, and I remember asking, how do I do it? They said, we don't know, can't tell you, but you just like go into a session, hold up your hands, bring in this love energy, this golden light of love, and then just keep doing that a couple of days a week. And yeah, for whatever it is now, 4 years later or so, I um I left my job to do this full time. So now I do sessions, what I call quantum psychic energy healing. I do things like past life healing, soul retrievals, negative
Whoa.
entity removal. I go to hell and back with clients to retrieve their soul fragments, um, and then and a whole lot of other stuff. And then I last year qualified as a mindfulness meditation teacher, and then this year as a clinical reflexologist, the foot massage. And I also blended, thanks to my clients, they asked me to blend psychic readings with reflexology and quantum energy healing. So it's like a foot massage with a psychic reading at the same time, which is so cool because you just get to ask their spirit guide for advice as you're doing the work. Like you've asked the client for their top conditions, and then you get like a helper all the way through the session.
That's
Um, and then at the end, I do like a chakra scan and energy healing, and so I now do that in person as well. So one day a week, I work in a local wellness center doing my services there, and the rest is online for people around a lot in the US, Canada, Australia.
so we'll
Um,
post that how they can get a hold of you.
yeah, that's right. That'd be amazing. Yep.
So tell me just an example of an amazing experience you had.
Um, oh, I don't know where to start. I could talk my last experience. It was pretty
Yeah,
amazing.
give me
So,
the last one.
um, I was doing a I was doing a psychic reflexology session yesterday, and my client complained of their strongest challenge. Just checking, you can hear me okay?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, good.
I can hear you.
So yeah, their challenge was they had pains in their hands, and they felt like it was like a kind of nervous system problem maybe, but it became quite painful and often very early in the morning. And when the client came to see me, they were like, it was sore, and they're like almost in tears, and there's a few tears right at the start. And so when we got into the session, so they lay down in a bed, and I started what are like the first few seconds of um I describe as like the relaxation steps in the reflexology foot massage, and reflexology works by massaging the different points in your feet that map out to across your nervous system to different organs across your body and every part of your body, which is so cool because you can affect every part of someone's body. And what happened in the first few seconds as I connected in, so I set up a safe space, I invited in their guides, and two of their guides jumped straight in and they kind of dumped on me like this whole like Hollywood movie of all the reasons why they were having problems with the client was having problems with their hands. And I saw that first of all, I saw a past life in the First World War where their hands had like really sadly been blown off. But it was a bomb that had landed and had near London, and it had exploded when they got close. And then prior to that, there was a lifetime where they were an energy healer in Lemuria, and they were like a mer folk. I mean, we would probably more easily identify them as a mermaid,
Oh,
and they had these really beautiful gift of these big I saw these big golden circles in their hands. And what seemed to have happened through those previous lives was this first life as a Lemurian healer, they could heal people individually, but also in groups and at scale, often after battle, and some people that were struggling, later in life. And they wanted to bring that very high vibration gift into this lower density reality that we're in right now. And they really struggled because in part because of the vibrational shift, and then also in part because of the trauma that they'd experienced in the First World War. Was like it was almost like they weren't ready. So by the time I completed the reflexology and then got onto the energy healing at the end, what I saw as I scanned, so I could scan down people's chakras and see, the size and shape and color and is it spinning, is anything attached? And as I extended out to the hands, I saw what looked like down the hands and forearm was this really dark, that the Venom movies, it reminded me of that,
yes,
where it's
yes.
like really dark energy. And on both hands. And in a lot of the session, we'd realized that the client had resistance to these gifts, that they were worried about losing themselves. And I had this myself last summer. I was like, I was scared of losing John. Like, how's John going to survive in this new world that he wants to step into? Um, and so I'd actually seen them. It was like they were pushing their hands into this big tub, like this bathtub with this dark energy in it. And it's like they'd sunken their hands into it, saying, "No, like I don't want that Lemurian gift in this human form. It's too much for me. I don't want to lose myself." But they'd come to me for that reason, right? I'm just getting uh lots of tingles.
Yeah.
Um, and and so when I scanned down, I was able to drain the energy out of their hands and out of the nerve endings and drain it into the earth and then clear out this energy. And well, that was very powerful in itself, like one hand at a time. And I could see this energy clearing out and it felt so much better. And then it took about another 5 or 10 minutes until the end of the session. And the client just sat up and she just said, I felt as you're going through my hands, I felt like my arms were like this. They were just raised up in the sky. And she said, "Did you lift my arms at all?" I said, I haven't touched your whole body. Um, and she just said, I just feel so released. Like that energy was so
Isn't that
blocked.
fantastic?
And I was just like, oh, I keep reminding myself, John, it's an energy first, it's a consciousness and energy first universe. Stop being distracted
And you're
by
very gifted, you're very tapped
physiology.
in. And so, of course, you had to drop that job so you could do this. Are you pretty busy with
It's
this?
true. Yeah, I've still got capacity, but yeah, I'm definitely busy.
Wow. It just sounds so fascinating. And talk
Thank
to
you.
me about meditation. What exactly? I don't meditate. I just breathe 3 breaths a day, deep breaths a day.
Yeah, that's how I start.
Yeah,
Um,
Eckhart
and
Tolle talks about that you breathe breaths a day. Because when you're breathing in deeply, you're disconnected from your
yeah,
consciousness. You go into a higher, you're in the realm.
that's
And in
right.
that vibrational energy, you can ask or get help from the realm.
Yeah.
Did you see your guides, by the way?
Um, yes, I saw them quite early on.
Oh,
The I would say that I first saw them as like colors and shapes. And there was one guide, my first guide that introduced herself. Her name is Maya, who's a sister of Gaia. And I must admit, I've never even Googled her name. I felt really bad. I just happened across her name today on I was like, oh, I feel really bad. I've never looked up your name. Um, but for the first few years, she kind of fronted the rest of my guides or proxied them. And it was actually a hotel. I used to travel a lot in my last job to the US and Canada, and it was actually in a hotel in Toronto where I asked my guides to do a lineup. So I just said, I just want to meet you all. Like, so could you just, in a meditation, I just said, could across this, like, it was a big hotel room, and I just said, could you line up one at a time? And in my meditation, I'll just step forwards and come and shake your hand. And I'd like to know who you are, where you're from, like, what are you doing to help me, and how can I help you in this lifetime? And it was the funniest experience and so vivid and so palpable. So they all said hello, and you know, most of them are from different planets, and in fact, none of them are human. Um, and then it's the same thing I do in one of my training courses is I do that exact same practice to get people to meet eight of their spirit guides in 1 hour. And it's a lot, right? But it feels like, to answer your question about meditation, so much of what I do is I always create these like a golden bubble of protective light around myself. And I do it with an intention. I do it with the intention to only allow in energies and entities with my highest good, love, and compassion. Um, and what that does for me is it allows me to just, like before I came on with you, just really open myself up. So I'm not scared. I'm not scared of something creeping in or influencing me that doesn't have my consent, that I can fully just open myself up. Um, and yeah, I hope that comes across.
Yes, well, you're kind of glowing.
Yay.
No, every time I ask to see my guides, now I know I have a male guide because that's the guy that told me to do a YouTube video, and I thought they were cray cray. That's the guide when I begged for my life because I didn't want to die because my boys were young and I had breast cancer. He said, "What are you doing? You know there's no such thing as death." I was like, "Oops, yeah," because I was a nurse for years. I've seen
Yeah.
energy leave bodies. So I know it's male, but all I see is, you ever see the movie Cocoon?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
All I see is figures in total energy.
Yeah.
I never get a face or an idea that they're from some different realm. And then I
Yeah.
saw Jesus when I was 8 years old, and he was uh my parents were atheists, so I wasn't quite sure who he was, but that area that I went to was the other side.
Hmm.
It was spectacular. It was technicolor. I had a slight breeze coming through me. I could hear a tone. I don't know if you get tones over there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Vibration. What later on in Life and Teachings of Masters of the Far East, they talk about, higher ups on Earth who can actually dissipate and go to the other side. They
Yeah.
talk about that there's a tone. It's what it is, it's vibration.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. And I love that you've had these experiences, and that, they're one of the things that I had to learn to let go of, because I felt like I closed myself down from about the age of 6 and then opened back up when I was 40. And what I was really opening up to was, we talk about seeing. So if you ask me, John, how do you see your guides? As my human response is almost like I just want to tell you what comes into my eyes or into my third eye. And some of my last past lives have been very focused around the third eye and being a seer. And one of my journeys in this life is having that very slowly activate later, which is fascinating to me because if you asked, okay, so how do you perceive your guides? Like this a more expansive question where you could say, well, how do you smell them, touch them, hear them, feel them? And I'm just remembering very vividly some of my first experiences where I would feel someone sat next to me. I'm like, you're there. I just asked you to step forward and you're right there. And it's like, give me another sign. And so I think it's so beautiful that you can see or feel or perceive anything at all. Like it's a huge step forwards. Um, and I feel that it's so important to celebrate that. So many of us, so many of my clients say to me, maybe hundreds of them have said to me, I just want to see them. Like, show me the face. Like, show me like I want to chat like a human. Have a cup of coffee or tea and go for a walk. You can do all these things, but go on and like inviting you to go on a really expansive journey. Your guides don't just want to share a little word or an email with you. They want to communicate. I describe the communication as like letters of love. So it's like some words, yes, but then around the words, there's this envelope of like visuals and feelings and vibrations and emotions all wrapped up around it, all encoded around the experience. Um, and as you open yourself up, you're able to kind of open up this letter and feel into the and perceive these different aspects. And there's lots of different techniques I teach, like they can include getting up close to your guide. Often I have them quite far away and get them to walk towards you in a meditation. So I set up a safe space and get the guide to walk forwards and introduce themselves. And often it's like this attunement process happens where the guide wants you to recognize their individual soul signature, like their soul frequency.
So they
And
don't mind
once,
you knocking on their door.
oh yeah, they love it. That's why they're here to, it's a partnership, right? We're here to help each other.
I haven't tried that yet. I haven't tried to meditate and get to know them. I just listen to what they say. And then sometimes, like lately, um, I prophesized our President Joe Biden would win when he did. And then I thought for sure that the vice president was going to win. And they're telling me she did win. It's so weird, but it's almost like part of what's going on now is what's going to eventually heal America. We almost have to go
Mm.
through this in order to see the ugly part too. So
Yeah.
things will change. Change is good. Change is good. The worst times of my life, especially when I had breast cancer, I kiss it and I thank it all the time because that's what turned me. Because when I gave my life over, when they said, "What are you doing?" You know that there's no such thing as death. And I said, "Into thy hands I commence my spirit." Boom, something happened to me that was so, I was vibrating. I was zooming for 2 days. I couldn't get the smell of the earth off my hands. And I couldn't eat. If I can't eat, something's up. I couldn't eat. I couldn't sleep. It was like I was just plugged into something. And my
Yeah.
life has never turned around. I have, for the first time in my life as a human being who was chronically depressed, I have never been happier. But I can't talk about what you do because I haven't dabbled in that. And I think that's something that might be missing. Maybe we need to meditate more.
Yeah. And I just meditate on, and I just wanted to pause a second. Thank you so much for sharing your journey as well. And it's so brave, right? It's like
Yes.
like you spoke a bit about, what you've just what the world's just been through, seeing what's happening in America. It's like this kind of, this chaotic kind of awakening energy.
Right.
I remember just when I look back a year before I awakened, I didn't know I was awakening, but all this magic kept happening. I was posting on Facebook saying, the sunset, why is the sunset so amazing? Or this rainbow, look at this rainbow. Like I didn't know, my
Yeah.
consciousness didn't know, but something inside of me, my subconscious and my higher self absolutely knew. And they're like between them, like, John, it's time to wake up. It's time to wake up. Um, and like that experience that where you bravely step through with breast cancer, it's like that that surrender and that acceptance and that letting go
I
of
surrendered
those
even to give up.
constricting paradigms.
Yeah, I even said, if I need to die, I'll die. But I know you've got this. I know it's no matter what happens, you've got this.
Yeah.
And that's how much I trusted it. So, I trust them pretty good. And when I hear things that are supposed to come and they don't happen, which is the big wake up call now, I predicted the last one, and this one is like, what? But there's something going on. But they tell me
Yeah.
surrender, surrender
Yeah.
and allow. So that's what I have to do.
That's really beautiful. I would say, I'm not really, I never followed politics, and I found myself asked, but still asking this question because I could feel like on the other side of the Atlantic, you feel the energy shift. And I asked my guides, what is happening? And I said, John, yes, there's a game, and yes, there's a kind of a timeline playing out, if you like. There was multiple timelines. And to be fair to you, you could have easily picked up on any of these. But what's happening is they've all converging. So they're all converging. So it's almost like you predicted the piano, but the different piano keys, the different frequencies of it kind of don't matter because
That's
they're
really
all
interesting.
still part of the same outcome. And that outcome is what we'll see playing out into next year. The first thing I was shown is do not, under any circumstances, give your power away. Never. All of this that you see outside of you is trying to distract you to say that, oh, this person or these people are in power. No, you are in power. You are in power of yourself. You're creating your individual reality. And about 20% of your consciousness and your energy is contributing to the co created, co collective reality of this world. And a lot of the circus type feeling that we have, like, oh,
Oh, yeah.
it's all a show, and who's the next character? Boo, hiss, when they come on stage, like that energy will become, the separation of what you see, especially on mainstream media, of like someone turning up saying, "Hi, obey me, I'm important." You'll see like it literally looking funnier and funnier. It will seem so much more disconnected from the energy to their action. And I saw that like this doesn't just affect politics, right? It affects everything, all our, especially our larger corporations and our government structures, where people will begin to see more and more the energetic gap between what people say and they say their intentions are compared to how their energy actually comes across. And it to the extent that we'll be laughing about it. And it starts with us, right? Because we're practicing and developing our sensitivity because we see value in it. And but the others are, across the world, more and more of us are going through our own unique awakenings. And this will start to bring this kind of this greater desire for that alignment. So when you see people that and you feel that their energy is more aligned with their actions and their words, you'll, if that's your intention too, you'll gravitate more towards them and away from people that have these larger gaps, which it just seems a bit silly and you just don't really get it.
Right. Yeah. And the way to manifest, and I'm sure you know this, it's very hard for a man to do because we're so connected to our own ego. And we love our children and our families and our country. And you almost have to disengage from everything and stand in the realm of the collective consciousness. So that's what the breathing, Eckhart Tolle talks about the Tao method. That's what meditation does. The more you can vibrationally stand in that energy, the more the self-healing happens for you, the happier I am, and the better you can
Mm.
help others and you can help yourself. But also, when you put an intention out or a prayer for mankind, if higher realms are vibrationally pushing it out, it can manifest. You can't that which is likened to itself is drawn. You cannot create what you're not. So it's like people
Yeah.
I read that always have money issues. And I don't, it's very hard to explain to them. But you just have to, I hate to say it, you have to let it go and trust that it's going to be okay, because if you always think of terms of lack, you create more of the same.
Yeah.
So you
It's so
be
true.
careful what comes out of your mouth and what comes in your thoughts.
Yeah.
But you're
Yeah.
just this bright light that just joined in and you're totally thrilled with it and didn't realize what the heck.
That's right. Yeah. What's going on here? Um, yeah, I love that, that my journey from lack, that was my hardest, like that was my darkest time about summer, the start of summer 2023. I didn't know if I was going to leave my corporate job. I didn't know if I was going to start this new life. I didn't and I was pushing really hard and I was working really hard and I burnt myself out. And I realized for the first time how dangerous that is, not just in a kind of third dimensional way, but you do this work wrong, especially when a lot of my work is dealing with negative energies and entities. It is risky to your soul.
It
And
sure
I was
is.
like,
People can latch
wow.
on to you too.
Yeah. And I realized, okay, I stopped for about 2.5 months, even music I stopped. And I took that break and really rebuilt myself. Like that was if I hadn't gone through that deepest, darkest, I called it, a friend encouraged me to create a video about it, which I did, called My Deepest, Darkest Shadow Work. And I'm so glad that both I did it, but that I also shared, a video about it. And it taught me that out of that experience of lack, that there's this future, and it's how I feel right now. This version of John now is, you know, the feeling of rich, the feeling of abundance and wealth. It's not a number, right? It's a feeling. It's like you, there are literally thousands of millionaires and billionaires who feel lack, and it's not their numbers in their bank account. It's the feeling that drives us all, that gravitates us all towards, because it's a frequency of abundance. And if you're able to do that work inside, like focus on your own vibration, your own joy, do your shadow work, free up all that space and that baggage, let go of the things you don't need anymore. You allow yourself, and as I say in one of my training courses, how to receive your dream life, how to receive your dream world.
Yeah.
It's not a doing, right? And I've done that for 26 years and it was fun, but I learned that it was also burning me out. And I'm ready to just be, the best version of me who's happy to receive all the things for my highest good.
Were you married when you dropped that job?
Yes. Yep.
And how did she feel about it?
Initially, she's like, "You're gonna do what?" And I think that reaction was because I'm very tenacious, right? I'm just like, she knows as soon as I've decided something, it's like, "Oh, you're serious." And my wife is just, she has been and continues to be incredible. And like three things really stood out. One is she said, all this stuff you're doing, like with the meditation, the online stuff, it's kind of like out there. It's more woo woo, right? Why don't you do also qualify in some of the more down to earth things? Do you really want to be stuck in your music studio doing these online sessions all the time? What about connecting with people face to face? And then I did a week's meditation teacher training, and that whole week I cried every day saying, "I'm Jon Binnie, I'm a psychic, and I'm coming out." And I was like, and at the end of every meditation, everyone would say, "Okay, how was your experience?" I'm like, I was crying. I was like, "I think I'm a psychic," and then by the end of the week, I know I'm a psychic, and it was tears of joy. And then the reflexology, she also recommended that. Um, and not only does she love receiving it once a week, but also it's just been incredible to get me to physically go to a wellness center, meet people, run events there as well, and it's that that balance of being very grounded and down to earth, and it's scary, right? It's scary for me. It's scary for my wife and two kids, to make these big changes, but I think a lot of it comes down
I
to like a
imagine
strong
you're way happier.
strong communication. Yes. Yes. Yeah. The other the other week I'd worked really hard. Like I'd had accidentally lined up two or three events that happened over about 3 days. It's really intense, real long days. And my wife said to me, and I won't mention the company name, but she said, it's just like you look like you were working back there. I haven't seen you like that in months. And I'm like, I look that bad?
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, that was
It
a
is
real wake
wonderful
up
to
call.
read people, but it can be very taxing.
Yeah,
You have to take care of yourself.
definitely. Yeah. Yeah. And that's a huge thing for me. Like I initially I was kind of like a lot of us, like excited and a little bit lured by people who claim, earning large amounts of money doing this sort of work. And for me, it was never about that. Like my mission's about balancing darkness and light and helping this planet on its ascension journey. And I have like real hobbies and desires of a great family, and we do a lot of camping adventures. And these on my website, like I created a page that describes my mission and describes that work-life balance. Like that's more important than money. Like, and I was just saying that my is really funny. My finance advisor, who checks my books each month, I was chatting with her today, and first question she said is, "What's your camping like? Are you getting to camp? Are you going camping? Are you getting time with your family?" And I was like, yes. And it's like, now I know why I hired you. You're amazing. It's like you're
Well,
asking the
and
right
also if you
questions.
got to have a finance person, you must be making ducats.
No, but
No?
it's a start.
Well, you probably made a lot of money doing the job you did before
I
and you
did previously,
invested.
yeah.
Yeah.
It means a lot of tax work as a result.
I tried to get a finance person and they laughed me out the door. What you gonna do with $12.45?
That's right.
So, and you kind of got to do this with no, the reward is the people.
Yeah. Yep.
I started
Absolutely.
off not knowing what I was doing. I was sitting in front of the computer and my son said, Mom, you can monetize YouTube. I'm like, what? Okay. So I monetized YouTube and I was just going along and it just grew and grew. I started in 2018 and now I'm nearly at 84,000.
That's
No,
fantastic.
what am I at? Sorry. It's bigger than 84,000, I think. Oop, 94,000.
Wow. Woo.
Almost at 100, but the people is what keeps you going.
Yeah.
You're gonna
Yeah,
love
absolutely.
the people that are subscribers in this community. Oh my God, you're gonna absolutely love them. I just hope you have some space on your calendar.
I do. You can
Okay,
see it on my
good.
website.
I get frustrated. I had my girlfriend open up my calendar and I booked within for the whole year within 48 hours. And
Wow.
in a way, I regret that I did that because it tied me up so
Yeah.
badly that so at the end of December, I'm not doing any paid readings anymore. I'll do free
Yeah.
readings. I'll give away free readings, but
Oh, it's lovely.
it sounds like I need to book a reading with you for myself
Yeah, I love that. We can
because
chat with your spirit guides.
yeah, I'd like to know what you see. I don't know nothing about no past life, but I know there are such things as past life. Like I tell people when I read them, I can't really, sometimes I'll pick it up right away. Like I
Yeah.
know there's a connection, but I'm not a past life specialist at all.
Yeah. They're a lot of fun. I started by experiencing my own first, which was really beautiful. Like I think the first one I remembered was I was on a train home from work and I was on the phone chat with a friend and it's like, I can remember this past life. We were in a past life together. And she's like, we were? And it's like, yes. And I was typing furiously for it's only a 25-minute from Edinburgh. Um, but it was like this whole movie. And then I wrote a song called an 8-minute song about it called Eternal Now. And yeah, that I think that really helped me get it. Like it was like my guides were saying, John, you've got to experience it yourself, and then you get like a sense of like what does
And you
that
can,
feel like to you, because like my I had a client yesterday saying, but it wasn't my past life. It was it was my soul had another incarnation with a different personality, and it was their past life. And they're not really past, right, John? They're like running at the same time. And it's like, yeah,
isn't that something?
it's all true. Yeah, and I love those differences
When
that
you
it
were talking about your wife, I felt you and her had a past life together.
we have, yes.
It felt very connected to me.
Yeah. And yeah, the same. This is the first time we've made it this far with my leap into the unknown and us not being persecuted for it, which
Yeah,
is great.
probably that's why I'm nervous to find out. I'm sure I was persecuted for something. All
Yeah, we
I
have a
know
lot.
is I probably used to be a hooker because that feels familiar to me.
Wow.
I'm
Well,
just,
we've all been many things.
yeah, yeah. But there are, like there's certain things, like in with that castle, Stirling Castle, I could feel some sort of energy. My dad's side are all from Scotland. When the UK took over Durham, they were in Durham County when it was still belonged to Scotland.
Oh, wow, that's cool.
And when the UK took over, the brothers came out here to Virginia, to the United States,
Mhm.
but and changed their last name to Durham to match where they
Oh,
were
wow.
from. Yeah,
Oh, that's lovely.
but big time Scottish background and English too. I go all the way back to William the Lion,
That's
but I
cool.
also go back to King David of Scotland.
Mhm.
So I
Fantastic.
got Scottish blood, and then it's so weird that and then my mom's Mexican Indian. I'm a registered Comanche Indian. So talk about,
Wow.
yeah, it's just so weird. But let me tell
Yeah,
you, my friend, you're a bright light. And you said, we're going to do a live event the next time because you said you can kind of, if somebody submits a question, you can answer them.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah, I do live pretty much any of my abilities, providing the person gives
Guys,
their consent and it's for them. Um, and it's like I do energy healing, any readings, Akashic readings, removing negative energies, connecting with a spirit guide, activations, whatever they ask for, home clearing. We did a week on healing pets as well. That was good fun.
oh, that's wonderful.
And I go live every Monday and Thursday on my
In
channel.
Scotland.
And yeah, it's 4 p.m. UK time, 11 a.m. Eastern time, and 8 a.m. Pacific time.
Oh, 8 a.m. Pacific time. Okay,
Yeah,
so that people can connect that way.
that's right. Yeah.
Oh, okay. We'll check it out. We just hope you don't get too busy. So, I'm going to post how to get, can you go ahead and say out loud how to reach you?
Yeah, of course. So it's all with my name. So jonbinnie.com
And it's
is
Jon, you guys.
JONBINNIE. That's my website. So jonbinnie.com. You get everything there you need. My sessions, links to my YouTube events, my music. You can book me there. And I also run my training courses. You'll see how to
Are
explore
you
those
ever
there as
coming
well.
out this way? You ever come out to the US?
Yeah, I am. So I haven't set an exact date yet, but I'm looking into running an event in Philadelphia, and that would be really fantastic. Unless someone persuades me to go to another venue, but I seem to have a lot of clients towards that area, which would be fantastic. I haven't been there for about 20 years. My first tarot reading I ever had was in Philadelphia.
But do you see
Um,
future events or no?
Say again, sorry.
Do you see future events or no?
When I ask,
Okay, but
yes.
you focus more on the healing of the soul energy, not so much. Sometimes I think we get too stuck up on future events, although we love it. My guides have, it's like when, I have my questions about the Bible too. But when Mary and everybody was leaving where Jesus was supposed to be buried, and they didn't know that was Jesus toiling the land, and he said,
Mm,
"Why do you look for the living amongst the dead?"
yeah,
And in a way, I've often felt that to be in this world and alive, you kind of, just go with it day by day. Being present is the best gift you can give yourself or teach your children.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
But I can't help it. They keep throwing future events at me.
I love that. Whilst just as you said that, uh it's like a little orb just came out of my crown chakra. I saw it in the video and then just go off to the side. That quote you said from Jesus. Um, it's like, wow, that's so cool. I'm pretty sure I haven't seen any orbs until then. So if anyone does, please let us know in the comments.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Why do you look for the living amongst the dead? I know when my daughter was really sick and she has bad lungs and she had gotten COVID and I was crying and I was begging for her life. And he said, that man, it's always a male voice. I'm going to make an appointment with you. Maybe you can tell me who he is.
Yeah,
And he said, practice what you preach. And I was like, what? No sympathy? And it's like what he means is, you know, there is no such thing as death. So don't fear the death with your daughter either, even though he knew she wasn't going to die. He
yeah,
still put me in that safe space that it's
yeah,
okay. It's all for a reason. Everything happens for a reason. There was a reason I was supposed to live through breast cancer and then come on this YouTube channel and help as many as I could help. And they've helped me for sure.
that's
So
so
I'm glad
beautiful.
to introduce you to everybody.
Oh, it's my pleasure. And yeah, I have like whenever I ask my guides about the limitations, sometimes I ask about the different healing modalities that I use, and I ask like what are the constraints? Like what is one thing better at? What's the superpower of reflexology versus quantum energy healing? And they always go back to the same thing. They just say, John, stop asking questions from a perspective of a third dimensional physical universe.
Yeah,
It is energy. It's the energy manifesting these conditions within you. So stop asking us about
they
the
do that.
symptoms and ask us about the causes. And it's your energy, it's your emotions,
Yeah.
and often the blocked energy that we store,
And
or the
we're human beings,
parts of our
we're Homo
bodies we ignore.
sapiens. Yeah. So
Exactly. Yeah.
did
Yeah.
you get
Sometimes our bodies just want to be seen.
any hits on the ET stuff coming up? I got an ET. I actually talked to an extraterrestrial just briefly, and I'm telling you, they're being seen everywhere. But they can't change our destination unless it involves nukes. But I feel they're really looking out.
They are. I have had a very long relationship with aliens or galactic brothers and sisters, and my origins were, I think, one, as soon as YouTube was pretty much invented, I was watching, Googling for UFO videos, and then I realized that, like, we are the aliens, right? We are, many of us, from lots of different planets, and we come to this earth with our soul abilities and gifts to help each other. And that the reason that this whole world is so interesting to other galactic races is that I keep being shown this process of, like, how there's theories of how aliens have been working with our DNA over many,
Yes,
many thousands of years. In part, that's true. And it's like a time loop. So what happened was, many of them saw this unique superpower we have. Humans can hold, as you can see, very low vibration to very high vibrations. And we can do this because Gaia, Mother Earth, she can also do this. And there's not many, if any, planets in this whole universe that can hold such a wide frequency range. Wide, how is it's like the impossible, tension of Mother Gaia. Like, how does she hold us as her children while we destroy her?
I
Like,
know.
how is that possible? And we're the same, right? We're like, how are these humans doing this to other humans or to me? Like, how could that be me? How is that a reflection of me? And yet, so what happened is these this is all part of the universe's ascension, is a wide catchment area, a large frequency range. And what I was shown by my guides is that what happens is that many galactic races got really interested in this. They want to ascend, some of them for their own survival, like the Zeta aliens. They don't want to end up on their kind of, their dead end timeline. They want to ascend with us. And so they started interweaving and manipulating our DNA. But what they didn't know was that there's this kind of magic that happens, right? It's like this source magic, this God magic that happens, that when you try and find, like, the magic within us, you become quantum entangled with it. And so their futures became entangled with our futures. And, like, some of it they think they know about, like, hey, it seems like a good idea to ascend with the humans, right? But it's a one-way ticket. Like, they're on the ride, they're on the ascension right now. And so what's happening on Earth is that there's this kind of, yes, there's a lot of conspiracy, there's a lot of control to try and, like, how to describe it. Today I was asked, the the hearing, the UAP hearing that's happening just now, is that is like one mechanism for, like, a controlled release of this. So try not to freak out the humans, just allow this veil to gradually lift. Um, but there's, like, these inevitable leaps that we all take individually. And so, yes, you will see some of these, how to describe it, the circus acts, like, oh, look at the scary aliens, guys. And you can just look at, like, your video streaming service and see how all the negativity emerging about the fear and horror movies about the subject. But what I also experienced, and I remember this vividly, just before our lockdowns, I saw a Galactic Federation ship in my morning run at 5 a.m. just to the south of um, uh, Dunbar. It's not far from Edinburgh where I live. This ship, this ship. So I had seen UFOs before,
I've
little
seen them
lights
at a
moving around.
distance. Yeah.
This one was six moons in length. So if you imagine six full moons in the sky, this was six of them lined up. filled with lights, like a cruise ship, and it just gradually went across the sky. And my physical reaction is I started crying with it was my tear ducts just opened up and were just flooding out. And I stopped running and I just placed my hand on my heart. It's like hello. It's like hello,
Could
who
you
are
feel
you?
them acknowledge you?
Yes. Like there was just this I felt that every window had a being from lots of different galactic races staring out that window, their own window, looking at me like, hey John. And the love energy I felt was just up
Magnificent.
to the very edge of overwhelming. And yeah, I asked them, I ran home and I did a meditation. I asked what was that? And they said, we went to huge lengths, John. You've no idea. We had to show ourselves physically to you because we wanted you to physically feel our presence, to know
Yeah,
what
because
that
I
feels
think
like.
that ships around a lot of words, but you can't see it.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that is fascinating. I
And of
love it.
course, and of course, I wrote a song about it called "Ship in the Sky," and it was that was so beautiful. And whenever we're experiencing anything in these world events that are coming up, you, like you said, Linda, like you just place your hand on your heart. Sometimes people use their left hand because it's better for receiving, and just take 3 deep breaths
Uh-huh.
and ask your heart, like, is this real, or what is the intention of this experience that I'm experiencing, or is this alien spaceship real, or is this person I'm watching on the news genuine? Like, do the words match their energy and intention? Our hearts are again like one of the human race's superpowers, and we have this incredible ability to discern, and we all have it, right? Every single one of us, and not just humans on Earth, all our pets and all our lovely animals as well.
Oh my God. My babies are just I just love them, but I hate that they die, They die younger than a human does, and so
Yeah,
but they're always alive, so to speak. They
that's right.
recognize your love. They are unconditional.
They keep coming back, right? They'll just come
Yeah.
back after they've finished with their body,
My
which is
dog Moochie, my
beautiful.
my first dog I owned, that was my dog. He was a Lhasa poodle, and I brought Lulu home. I flew to Oklahoma to get Lulu, and I sat Lulu down on the couch. I was sitting down, Lulu, introducing her to her new home, and here comes Moochie. Moochie was never in this house, but here
Yeah.
comes Moochie walking down the hallway as big as day. And I, for a
Wow.
minute, thought, Moochie, here's Lulu, and then I realized, wait a second, you're dead,
Oh,
and the dog just dissipated, but it was there. Probably, and that's the
wow.
last time I saw it.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah,
And every time we speak of them, every
yeah.
time we think of them, they're right there. And if you invite them in, it's even more powerful, right? Say, would you like to come and sit with me for a moment? Would you like to enjoy the morning sun with me, or the sunset with me, or sit in your favorite place? Um, and I feel that's such a beautiful way for us to, at a you don't need to be super spiritual to just like remember what it's like to have been around that animal or that human, and to be with them again. And that I found that really helpful for sadly all the deaths I've experienced around me as well.
Yeah. Well, my friend, can you believe we're almost at an hour? I
I know.
usually
I
don't
feel
go
like
beyond an hour.
we could chat forever.
I'm telling you, but we got to have you back on with a live. I
Yeah, I'd
didn't
love
do the
to.
live this time because I wanted to intro you. And then we'll come back. You stay on and we'll talk about, I have my calendar. I don't know if you do. And
Yeah.
I'll post all your link from your YouTube channel. So you guys be sure to go and subscribe to Jon, Jonbonnie.
Binnie.
Oh, I said B-O, Beanie.
Yeah.
Go to Jon. What does Beanie originate from?
So it comes from the McBain clan.
Okay.
Um, And really interestingly, our family history is very specific in Scotland, that there's a place called Linlithgow towards the west of Edinburgh. And I think for hundreds of years, our family name, Binnie, has been there.
Yes.
And I only found out recently that it's part of the same county I only realized that I've lived in for most of my life, and that I've also had past lives of over hundreds of years being here. So now it all starts to make more sense. But yeah, it's not a common name though. It's really rare.
That's the first time I've heard it.
There's only me, my brother, and a couple of others in like a million in the area that we live in with the same surname.
Wow. You just keep doing that work, my friend. I'm gonna post you and I'm gonna make me an appointment before I post this so I can get me in first.
Fabulous. I would love that.
So, okay, sweetie. Thank you, you guys. Thanks for watching. And I again, and can people they'll be able to go on a calendar via your site?
Yep.
Okay,
Yep. It's you can just go and book me. If you happen to be in Edinburgh or the area, you can come and see me physically. And I also do the sessions online. Both are just as powerful. And yeah, you can see my availability. It books a Zoom call for us, and I'll see you in the session.
awesome. Thank you so much. Bye, you guys.
Thank
Cheers.
you. Bye.